Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be so informative, so you need to buckle your seats and just be on
this video.
What I'm trying to do here is so simple. You can see that I am trying out different lines and different shapes and trying to understand which way is gonna make it look so much better. And then after a few trials, I settle on a specific look, and that comes to me step by step and piece by piece. I don't have it all figured out in my mind at the first few minutes of just trying. It just comes to me as I go along. And then after the sketching is done, I go to color the entire drawing, because that way you can add the clipping mask and it's so much easier for you to color it. And it's gonna take so little time to continue on painting, because then you're not gonna be worried about drawing over the lines, because you're safe. That's why it's essential. I talk about this concept that you need to eat your frog first, and that's because you overcome difficulty and then you have this proof of the fact that you can actually overcome difficulty, so that when you go to other parts that are much simpler, you're much more likely to succeed. And so you do the hard thing first, which is like the skin, and then you're more likely to succeed in the overall painting, because that way you're setting yourself up for success. And it does feel like everything else is just like a piece of cake. It doesn't really feel like a hard work, and I feel like I'm cheating actually. Like it becomes that easy that you feel like, whoa, is it me or is it just the way that it is? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but let's move on to the shading. So for shading, you have to determine which areas you're gonna focus on, because like for me, that I've been drawing forever now, I know exactly where I should be focusing more on when it comes to shadows, and it's the area beneath the cheeks and also the chin and also the nose, and over the eyes and also under the hair. Those areas are more likely to have shadows. And for every painting that I do, it's like a system that I've made for myself. I go and focus on those areas first, and then go to other areas to add more details to the face overall. And in general, you don't need to always figure out where the shadow is going to be casted or anything like that. Depending on the expression and the feeling that your character wants to convey, you have to be able to understand where the shadow is going to be. It's not going to be that difficult once you get the hang of it. You have to always practice, and after 100 times of drawing and trying, you're not gonna be thinking too much about these things. You're gonna be just really autopiloting everything that you want to do when it comes to character drawing and rendering overall. And you can see that I'm adding more shadows to it. If you've added one layer of shadow, it's not enough. You have to go over it and refine it much more than just one layer. You have to add more layers to it. So when you are done with the skin, you need to look back on it and determine whether or not you have to go further in adding much more detail to it, or you have to move on to the other parts. But you can just leave it as it is right now, or just work on it much more. But I try to work on it much more, and then after a few enhancements, I go on to the other part of the painting, which is the hair. And I try to match the hair with the skin, with the color of the skin, so that it doesn't look incohesive. You have to be able to match the colors that you are picking. But that also comes with so many practices over time, because your brain is a habit machine, and the more you practice the drawing, the more you can easily detect which color you want to go with, and your style is going to be much more assertive, because then your style has been completed or near to completion, and you have to always pay attention to what you want to change about your style, because if you don't change it, your style is going to be like a mediocre style and it's going to stay the same all the time. And so you don't want that to happen to you. That's why you need to really take a deeper look at your painting or drawing and try to understand which part of your style you can change and you can enhance or improve. Because if you don't do that, then over time you're gonna run the risk of becoming really mediocre. That's not a great situation to be at, because like it's not good. But at the same time, you don't have to change yourself so much, because if you don't settle on one specific style and like try to improve that style over time, then you're just like hopping from this style to another, to another, to another. Although that might be helpful because it gives you the kind of flexibility in your art style, but it's going to waste a lot of time. If you pick something and really enhance on it, that's gonna make it much easier for you to settle on a style that you really love at the end of it. And it's much more efficient, if you ask me, because like we as artists, we don't really have all of our time to art. We have so many other things to run, so we need to just stay on one direction, like stay in one area and try to improve on that area. Because like hopping from one style to another is gonna take a lot of time, and it's not gonna give you the freedom to work on other part of your life, which is like we as artists, we do need to work on the business side of art and other side that doesn't have anything to do with creativity. It does so much to do with analytics and logical thinking. So you need to focus on multiple things at the same time, which requires your attention to be split, so you don't have as much power to work on your style as you like to, because it's life. It's called life. So accept the reality and try to be efficient in your art, and don't be that artist who's always just really focused on art, not the business side of it, not the actual marketing side of it. Like there's so many sides to art if you're looking at it as a career. And if you're not looking at it as a career or as your job and just your hobby, that's fine. You can just look at it from any angle that you want to. But if you're looking at it from a career standpoint, then that is not gonna serve you long term. And so be efficient. And it's like, if your art is not serving other people, then what is the purpose of your art even? Like you have to really take everything into consideration when it comes to you choosing the style that you want to incorporate in your artwork. And that really is determined by your trajectory in your art career, because like if your trajectory is to be a business artist, like someone who's actually making a living out of art, and if that is the case, then you have to ask yourself this question: what really is needed in society right now, and what is the place that I can invest my effort in? And that place is going to determine yourself. So for example, if someone's trajectory in this career is to be a children's book illustrator, then that should be the actual focus, not just practicing random art. You should pay attention to what brings value and what you can do for society, not for yourself. Like if you want to really serve society, you have to be intentional about what you do, not just randomly practicing art, like I said before. Like you have to not waste any time just practicing. You have to first determine which area you're going to be focused on. And when that is determined, you're now really clear on what your style should look like. Like I said before, if you're like working in design, you have to not be complex in your style. You don't have to add so much detail. You have to focus more on color theory and other part of design that really doesn't have anything to do with, for example, realistic painting. if you're focusing on logo designs, you don't have to practice concept art so much. And if you're like working on children's books, then that should be the focus, not just like practicing art. Because like when you're actually trying to match your style to a children sort of style, then you don't need to understand anything of anatomy or structure. You don't need any of those. You just need to focus on your own style, which you're gonna create over time practicing your style. And you have to concentrate on storytelling, not any other areas of art, because that's the main reason that you're doing the illustration. So know your reason, know your why, and then do the what. Because if you don't know your why, you're gonna be all over the place. You're not gonna meet your goal. You have to know where you're going, and you have to create a system for it, and then work on that system, refine the system, do whatever you can to make it easier, and also at the same time smarter, also at the same time more efficient, which is gonna all be coming together. Don't just waste time doing things that is never gonna lead to any business or never gonna serve your society. Be able to serve the society, not just do something selfishly. That is the most optimized system that you can build for yourself. Be able to detect, be able to know, like just having that knowledge of where your art is going to be needed the most and investing in that area. That is your job as an artist. And you need to find that area that you're most likely to meet your talent, and also you're most likely to meet the service that you want to give other people. And that is why I've recently decided to focus on making stickers and building a sticker company, not just randomly drawing. And maybe my next video is gonna be me making stickers or something like that, maybe a few videos in the future. I'm also gonna be focusing on character drawing because my other goal is to be able to tell stories and to be able to make animations. And I hope that this video was useful to you in some ways. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to, actually. Don't make sure. Thank you for watching. I hope that I can see you in the next video. Have a nice week.